So, welcome, Kendra, to the podcast 88.5 at home interviews. Super stoked to be able to talk to you. The radio station sent me out to check out your show with Neil Francis a while back in LA, and super excited you're coming back to LA as you start touring. So, congratulations.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and thanks for coming out to the show too.
Yeah, I knew who Neil Francis was. I had worked with SoCal, and I know he was recording at their studio for the first two albums, and always a lover of Coal Mine and what they're putting out, and Terry and that group. And super excited this week. We spoke with all your tour mates. So GA20 we spoke with, and Kelly from the Monophonics as well. So super excited to chat with you. Specifically about your new record, 9 Lives, and you have some singles after that too. But I wanted to get right into the 9 Lives record. This is, you've been releasing records for, over a decade plus, from New York, originally from Florida. But like, how did you get inspired and create this new record on Coal Mine?
With this record, I'd been kind of, before I was even signed to Coal Mine, I'd been kind of like, I'm always writing, always working. And I had already been working on a good portion of the songs with Jeremy Page, who I've worked with for a really long time on records and wrote with. And when I reached out to Terry, I sent him This Life, which is on 9 Lives. And then I said, I have a whole bunch more for you. And that kind of started the conversation. And we actually put out This Life as a single before. And right around when that came out was when Terry and I discussed, he'd heard all the other songs, not all of them, because not all of them had been written yet, but he was like, oh, let's do a record together. And it made sense. And then, about the other half of the record, probably I wrote after that. And it was just, I kind of knew that the portion of the songs that were already written were kind of through these different, really like pinnacle moments of time, also being in between a label, some just different things I'd gone through. And so then it was filling in the blanks of like taking the moments that I was in right then and being like, okay, I want to finish this record, and where am I at now? And so it was just still like writing, and like Jeremy and I getting together and just writing all the time, and just kind of getting through that creative language and that process. And that's kind of how 9 Lives came to be, because it really was these 9 just like different lifetimes. Sometimes you can write something, it can be, you can make a piece of art, you write a letter, anything, and you're at one place in your life, you look back on it or look forward and you're a completely different person in your life, as you collect experiences and you step away from experiences too. So that's kind of how it happened.
Excellent. And speaking of kind of having those 9 lives, those tons of kind of iterations, obviously since your first album, Banshee, has come out, like what has been kind of the changes that we see kind of in 9 Lives versus your first records?
I mean, definitely so much myself. I mean, there's so many different layers of it, like life experiences, really intense things that I went through. My brother passed away in the middle of these records, right after Banshee came out, he passed away. And so a lot of my music was kind of dealing with that. When you have someone so close to you suddenly just ripped from you, you're really forced to look at mortality. And I know that in our culture in America, we have songs about happy birthday, and we, like everybody celebrates in the moment, but there's like a weird like thing that our culture doesn't really talk about death, and death is just as important and it's a part of life. I mean, you can't live unless you die. You have to be born and you have to die. And so a lot of it, like constantly, some of my songs get kind of, I really get introspective, and it was really feeling my way through that. Even if a song wasn't necessary, I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff. I prefer to I think life is a beautiful thing. So I'm always writing on life experiences. And through 9 Lives, even sonically, like I think Jeremy and I both, we grew as writers and with our influences, and constantly like I'm just constantly like digging into things, and also exploring my own self with instruments. I play guitar, and although I'm not, on the album, I have being able to play guitar has helped me in ways to hear melodies a certain way, or just constantly pushing myself, or even like with the way that I write through harmonies and all my vocal melodies. I think just between Banshee and now, I just as a vocalist I feel like got a lot better because I was just singing so much, whether it was doing shows or in my room or to a guitar or with a group of friends. So I think that's pretty apparent in the writing also.
Yeah, and so I wasn't able to ask your tour mates this question, but specifically to you, being a woman and being in the industry, and as a songwriter too, do you feel that influences obviously your vantage point where you come from in the producing of this music?
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely being a woman, like, I mean, I experience things different than, than I experience things through the looking glass of, 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 identifying as a woman. And, for me, like some of my experiences with love or heartbreak are, things that I've seen through my own eyes of experience. So yeah, definitely. I think, or even, vocally, like where I like to take my voice and finding different tones, so going from soft to something a little more like rigid and rough, and like exploring that, how you can use your tool, your voice box, like a paintbrush.
Definitely, definitely. So now going back, as I said, we spoke with GA20 and Monophonics. You guys are going to be bundled on a tour together, the Sage Motel tour. So and you've been touring for a while. So now that you're going back out with them, how is it going out with this pairing? And then from there also, like, are you looking forward to any specific dates or cities or places to play?
I mean, this is going to be my first really big tour. Definitely my first big tour in the United States. I did a pretty big, almost a month-long tour in Europe, in France, in 2014. But this is like my first really like long, full, like many dates tour in the United States. So I mean, it's really gonna be all new, aside from like the Neil dates that I did, which was, we went back out with them for the Pacific Northwest. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited. I've never done a tour where it's with two other like label mates and bands, and kind of almost it's like a review. And I'm excited to kind of get to know those guys. And, the thing that's really fun about touring is it feels kind of like summer camp in a way, because you're sort of building these like short-term relationships with people, and you just have to be in the moment. When you're doing shows every night, you're really like in this weird limbo, because you're either traveling from one show to the next, or you're like getting ready to be on a stage, you're on the stage, or you're getting off the stage. And all those things are really like intense emotional things, because when you're on a stage, before you're on the stage, it's this kind of buildup of anxiety, like what's going to happen, like, you're taking all your emotions from that day, or whatever it is, and you get on the stage, and being on a stage is like nothing else. Like you're just suddenly in this thing, and you're just propelling your creativity, and you're connecting with your audience. And then after the show, it's really weird. It's almost kind of bittersweet every time, because suddenly when you're loading out, where you had just seen like a bunch of faces, it's super like empty and quiet, and all the staff is counting money, cleaning up the beer cans, and going home. And it's sort of, and you just load your stuff in the van, and then you're just like, you say bye to that moment, and then you're going to the next city. And it's such a weird feeling. And then to share those feelings collectively, yet still totally like alone in them with other people, with your tour mates, with your bandmates, you create a certain special bond that you really only have during that tour, like that. And you always like have it, but it's kind of sad when you're done. You're like, thanks for sharing this moment with me. I'll see you around, you know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely as an artist, I've had that feeling. It's like that emptiness when everything is done. You're like, oh, that happened. Did it happen?
Yeah,
It's over. And
totally. It becomes a memory so fast. Like it's like instant memory. Like that's in the past now. That moment, it's right behind, it's right there over my shoulder.
yeah, I think with what you were talking about of just being more mindful as we talk about happy moments, sad moments, life, death, the cognizance of and awareness of all that. In those moments when you're playing on stage, it's a moving target. Like as it's progressing, like it's already in the near past. Like as you go song by song, it's like that happened. Now I'm in the moment. Now this is the future, but like the future is coming quickly. So it's interesting how just like time and our concept of how that works.
Totally. And it even gets like so microscopic. Like you could be having like one song where the song just isn't going well. There's just some things aren't fitting and you feel like disconnected to your audience. You feel disconnected because there's something, maybe somebody messed up, or maybe my voice is feeling weird, or and then a second later you're into the next song, and that song, something happened where you just clicked, everything clicked. And it's like, even being on the stage, it's really a second to second thing, and you don't know what's going to happen. Like it's so out of your control. And I think that's what I like about it sometimes, as much as like I have control issues that I'm dealing with. Being on a stage is kind of where you can just be like, I'm going to try my best to put on a great show, but really it's out of my control, and you have to just ride it and enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it too. It's like there's always a part of it that's out of your control. You're turning it over to the label. Stuff will get done out of your control. You're having it now. Listen to the audience, and it's out there. They love it. They hate it. Out of your control. So we're always balancing. Like we have to. Whenever we relinquish anything into the air,
Yeah,
it's out of our control at that point. So then you've had quite a longevity in the industry since Banshee. So, and you were on Wax Poetics and now on Coal Mine. So, and you've self-released in between. So what kind of keeps you motivated and encouraged to keep going? Because the industry obviously is quite difficult. And anyone that has any longevity is a testament to their sheer willpower of survival.
I mean, I think it's one thing, like number one, a thick skin. No, there's no one is, you're never going to have 100% of people behind you. Never. There's just too many people and personalities in the world, and that would be boring. Like, so a thick skin, number one, and just honesty. Like if you like are just being honest to yourself in your art, then you can sleep at night. Like if I'm not going, well, this is what's in right now, so I'm going to do this because it's in and I want to do this, I want to follow it. Like if like not following a trend, do what you love, and because you love it and because you enjoy it, and then all the other things fall into place. And I've just always kind of like just tried to stay really true to myself. And like, yeah, there have been times where I felt really like kind of low, like it's been a roller coaster, but just seeing it for that, because like when you're on a roller coaster, sometimes the down moments make you appreciate the up moments. And when you're up there, you also appreciate, like just appreciating them as their own things. Like that's been part of it. And also like challenging myself, like never, like always trying something new, pushing myself, going to uncomfortable places as an artist, whether it's trying something else, like a whole other medium. I mean, I got into like stop motion animation because at one point I couldn't afford getting a music video. And it was when people's like social media started happening, and I wanted to like post videos and I couldn't afford videos, but I had all these songs. So I learned to make my own. And then that became a whole second career. And like I've done like animation for movies and stuff. And I love it. And it's something that tags my musician side too, because creativity, it's all like one, I look at it as one muscle, like one big, if you're just exercising your creative muscles, it's going to come out. Like if say you're doing something totally different than what you normally do, it's still going to ping your other creative sides. It all goes together. So, I mean, and I feel like that's kept me in it, is trying different things, going to like scary places, you know, being like open to trying different kinds of music, open to like, I truly believe a great song is a great song, and a great song can be translated through any style of music because it's a great song. So, you know, just not saying no, you know, and if I do need to say no, exploring it before I say no. Like, why am I saying no? Like, make sure, like, I know why, like, why, not just, no, I don't want to, just because, you know, why?
Yeah, I've heard it said like, love the idea for 5 seconds, you know, give it space.
Last thing is just not quitting. I've met so many, you know, I've been in this for so long that I've had a lot of friends that I've ran with that have either like stuck with it or that have decided, nah, you know what, music isn't for me. I want something a little more safe, and that's okay. For me, like I stick with it because it's all like, is what I love. It's like a part of me. And it's, for me, it's never quitting. It's just been what I do, and quitting, it's never been even in my language. Like, even on the worst of days, like absolutely would never quit. And so I think never quitting, but being open to evolution of your artistry, you know, that's been a big thing. And that's why I've just been here, always kind of like a, you know, right somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that is the natural like journey of an artist and evolution. That's why, you know, you can't make two Banshees or two Nine Lives, because you've evolved past that point by then you to something else. And life is always constantly, whether we choose to evolve or not, it's constantly pushing us forward. Totally. Now we're either like going with that wave, riding the wave, or it's just taking us under, but we have to keep moving, you know. Totally. That's the way it works. So then now you have worked with, you know, done some collaborations with a bunch of people. I saw DJ Premier and some stuff, Ninth Wonder, MF Doom, Starface, Ghostface Killer, Dennis Coffey, who I love from 70s soundtrack fame, David Sitek, Chico Man. There were like a bunch of names in there. So how's it working with like other musicians, and how does that kind of influence your process?
I love it. I've always loved, like, it's been, I mean, that's been one of the funnest things for me, is just never knowing like who. It's from exploring and saying yes, and like being like clear. I think being always on my toes, like open to an opportunity. Like when Ninth Wonder messaged me, that was through I think he like DM'd me on Instagram, and that, you know, like that, like as soon as I saw his name pop up, I was like, oh, like I knew it was, you know, it was like being on top of that, like writing him back right, like always being on top of opportunities. You know, if someone comes, you know, sniffing around your door, it's like, here, let me open the door for you. Let's talk some, you know, even like with Dennis Coffey when I toured with him. And that was like another, like a lot of things have kind of sort of come in my direction, and it's always been about being really just like on top of things. I'm not, you know, I'm always like, I ask a lot of questions. I want to know all about someone. If you say, hey, I want to work with you, or hey, like, I'm like pulling up, learning everything about you in those first 30 seconds. I probably already know everything about you, and maybe that's a little creepy and I shouldn't say, but it's been really awesome working with different people and such a different assortment, because it's just things that I feel like have added to, like, inspired me. Like working with Dave Sitek was awesome. He is a totally like different producer that I appreciate. I appreciated his work ethic. Working with him, he would go and work all night long. We would work on the vocals on that project like all day. We stayed at his like ranch house with all his animals, and then he'd be up all night with the sound up and just working, like being around different artists and their work ethics, and everybody does things different, and they're real, and learning that there's not a right or a wrong way to do it, that everybody has their like thing that brings their best creative self out. And that it's been really cool. And like with the guys in Czarface, I love working with them too. They're all like, even with the last record, and I wrote the hook on Zarwin's Theory. And that was so cool because it was in the middle of the pandemic, and TJ7L just, he had just sent me some different, I was like sitting in my living room, and he had sent me some different things while they were working on the record, and I just had time, and I just remember it was when we couldn't leave our apartments, and I just remember writing it, staring out the window and thinking of like the word holiday popped up, because I wanted to be on a holiday so bad, but instead it was the holiday of COVID. And like, just so, for them to just trust me with like, here, can you write to this? And it's been really cool, just different opportunities. And again, saying yes, not saying no, and like exploring everything.
Yes, I love it. I love saying yes, getting out of the comfort zone. I love being on top of your stuff, digging into people and what they do. I think that's super important. And I think for sure musicians a lot of times can have kind of a negative connotation of being flakes. So definitely being on top of your correspondence, answering right away, that can be helpful. That can be the difference between getting a gig and not getting a gig. So super important info. Now, for you, I guess let's talk a little bit about your style. Like, what do you consider your style to be? And like, who are your influences?
I don't know. I mean, my biggest influences are a lot of like classic soul, a lot of even like, just all like, it really like, that's the stuff I'm just always happy to listen to, is like lowrider soul or any kind of soul. I love like this. My favorite is soul when it was just radio, and you could go and like California, like Southern California soul had a different sound than Philly soul or Detroit, Motown soul. And that, like, I love like going down the rabbit hole of like sounds of different areas. Even like lately I've been listening to like, sorry, my little thing is wiggling. Even going to like listening to like amazing like African psychedelia, like the beats are incredible. Like, I think it's so important to listen to everything, to never be like, and then also like musical scores and soundtracks. Like, I feel like that's been something. I love the way an instrumental song can be just as powerful as a song with lyrics and a melody, because you can paint a picture with instruments just as powerfully by like where a note goes. Like, that you could make a song feel so sad by just like one or two notes, or, and so sometimes I'll just listen to like I love like Les Baxter. I'll just go down his rabbit hole, or Ennio Morricone, stuff like that. Like, I'll just, go down different rabbit holes and constantly just trying to find things. So my influences are all over. Sometimes I'll go and find old country music, or and I really got into singing in high school. I was listening to a lot of R&B, 90s R&B. I loved even the time where, Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey were like like there haven't been any singers like them, and like around in the 90s, where like Whitney was doing, where you would hear a voice go all over, and then it was like suddenly not cool to do that, and it was about under singing and I think I think it's cool when a singer is like, this is my gift, watch what I can do with it, and I grew up like singing to them, even that like first Lauryn Hill album. I would sit in my car in high school with my best friend, and we would just skip class and like sing to it all day, because those are some of the greatest songs So yeah, my influences really go all over the place. Even, you know, like I love a good metal show. When I was in Portland on tour, I took my drummer to go see like Testament and Exodus and Death Angel, you know, and like the lead singer of Death Angel, he is an incredible singer. Like his voice, his range, like, and his showmanship. So it's important, I think, to have as many, be open and have as many influences as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think people should listen to things like outside of their genre, because there's so many great ideas you can pull in that people are not even thinking about because it came from a different place that maybe they probably don't listen to. So I think that's good. Plus, I think parts of your brain light up when you're introduced with different information. So that's very cool. And I like the, you know, like I said, I think every genre can be soul to a certain degree of, like, you know, you see someone like a Ray Charles taking country and making that soul. It's like, it's not
Yeah,
that it can't be done. It's just they're hearing it because we're all filters and conduits. And so as it filters through you and your emotions and your experience, then it becomes something different. But if it has a good melody, it has good lyrics, it has good hooks, then basically it can be done over and
totally.
over, covered and covered and covered. So then as we start to kind of wrap up, I ask kind of artists for the next generation, what would you tell a newbie starting out in music today?
I would say be comfortable, be in it for the long haul. Nothing great happens overnight. I mean, sure, you might like instant gratification happens overnight, sure, but nothing like be patient, and that just go for the ride, be in it and enjoy every second of it, you know, because before you know it, you're looking back on moments. Be always looking, just be in your moment and appreciate every moment, because it's part of your story and your journey that is only yours and no one else's. And there's no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Do it for you, do it over and over and over again. And if everyone says, nope, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right, no, you are doing it right. You absolutely are doing it right. You do it so many times, it is right, because it's you, it's your thing. There's no such thing as doing it wrong. That's all boundaries that, you know, boundaries of fear that people want you to put in your brain so you can't. But there's no limits. And that's been the one thing I've always told myself is I'm going to do it my way so many times that it's right. It's right. It's my way. And no one on this earth can say that I did it wrong, because I did it my way. So that's what I would say. So just keep doing it. You're not wrong.
Excellent, excellent, great advice. And so when it's all said and done, we get to the end of career and life. What do you want your legacy to be? And obviously, I mean, many, many years into the future. We hope you go well into your 90s plus. But when it's all said and done, what do you want Kendra Morris to be remembered for most?
Just I was weird. I was at a cemetery today and I was kind of thinking of that sort of stuff. You know, legacy of just like never stopping, just continuing, and all the different branches. I guess she was the girl that never stopped.
Nice.
No, just legacy of like creativity and honesty with yourself, and that everyone's a true artist. Like, it sounds so crass and corny, but really believe in yourself, because there's going to be times where no one else believes in you, but you got to believe in you. And that's what I just want to leave a legacy of, like, hope, because life can be pretty overwhelming, but there's always room for hope, and art gives us that. And I think that's something I would always want to leave behind, is just to not stop and find your career and what success is to you. And success isn't measured by works of man, you know.
For sure. No, yeah, I believe that hope being the last thing out of Pandora's box is like what we cling to the most in art, music, culture. It gives us that, especially after coming out of the pandemic. Hope is super
Yeah.
important as well as the human connection. I have a friend, Peter, Mr. Rocks, who has a studio in LA, 5A studio, does a lot of hip hop and stuff, but his mantra is good music will always prevail. So I'm always telling
Yeah.
people like, yes, it's okay, it will get better. Hope is alive, and good music will always prevail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I guess I do gotta say I do want my music to live on, of course. Like that too.
Of course.
I want people to say she made great records. She wrote great
Yes,
songs. Like that too. Yes.
exactly. And that's the beauty of having, vinyl, and it's durable, it's lasted. Our crates are so heavy, but we have music from the last 80, 90 years that since recorded sound that people can find, and it's documented, and then written music before that. So that's all cool as part of the legacy and the journey. Now, how can people find you online? Where would you want to push people to go from this interview?
I mean, if you want to be in constant, like where I always am posting and like easiest to get in touch with me is right now Instagram is what I use. I'm a TikTok failure. I want to be a TikTok failure. I don't want anything to do with that. You'll find me on Instagram, mainly there. That's my prevalent, I dabble on Facebook on my artist page, and Twitter. And then through my website, I am the one who answers the emails if you email me through my website. And yeah, and then, if you want to hear my music, I always say go to the record store first, support small businesses, support your local record store. And then you could stream, check out, all the streaming services. But yeah, support your record store. It's nice to have a physical thing.
For sure. Now, give us also the website and the handle so we have them.
Okay, so Instagram is just at Kendra Morris, website kendramorrismusic.com, Twitter at Kendra Morris, Facebook at Kendra Morris Music. Yeah, and for the 3 videos that are up on TikTok is 1-800-Kendra.
Oh wow. Okay, that's the 10th life, I guess. So now, if they were going to listen to 9 Lives, what are the top 3 tracks? What should we go to?
I would say Keep Walking, 9 Lives, Penny Pincher.
Okay, and just what's the vibe, or why those 3?
I mean, I just love Keep Walking. It goes right into it. It's super, just lots of layered vocals. Oh, Dry is another good one. The vibe, it's just I'm so bad at describing my own vibe. It's just kind of a intense, cinematic, a little bit bittersweet, all of them. 9 Lives is a little more wacky, upbeat. There's a really cool video that goes with that one that I'm proud of.
Is that the one driving with the dog?
No, that's the one. This is the one where I'm painted 5 different colors throughout the video.
Okay.
And I die multiple times.
Oh wow.
So you can find me green, dead on a grocery store floor.
That's a cool concept though, to see that. And I always love listening. I'm more of a listener, but I like seeing the videos because sometimes the video can make you appreciate a song in a different way.
Totally, especially if like an artist, like I love being involved in all my videos, whether I make them myself or am working side by side with a director. I really like being involved in videos now because as an artist, like, yeah, you are able to get different views across. Like with 9 Lives, it's represented in the different primary colors because each color represents a different version of myself, and it's kind of campy, but also it represents like the multiple times you died. And like that, with that video, my friend Sarai directed it, but I produced it and had come up with the concept, and we worked together on that. And I was able to explain to her, like, this is what I'm thinking. And and then it was cool to pass it off to her and then let it become her passion too, and watch the song become a little bit of both of us.
Yeah, and color is a good exploration too, because I remember for us that are of an older age, in kindergarten we had Crayola and it was like 8 colors, and then all of a sudden we graduate. Now we have 64 colors. Like, oh, we have so many more colors and so many more emotions that I didn't even know existed.
Exactly. I know they used to tell us red is angry, blue is sad. Now we're like, well, what is yellow, orange? What is aquamarine? But it's true, there's so many other emotions and colors. Like, yeah, there's so much more.
So people should definitely go to your website or YouTube to be able to see the videos.
Totally.
Thank you so much, Kendra, for being on. We'll definitely circle back when everything is said and done and get links and let you know when it's out. But definitely want to keep in touch with you and your illustrious career as the tour and other music comes out. Obviously, people will send us more music from your record label, and we'd love to play it on the show. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much.
Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Cliff.
Peace. Bye.